The dark side of remote high-ticket sales that nobody talks about. By the end of this training, I'm going to really dive into the psychology of being in remote sales and why so many people cannot actually last in remote high-ticket sales. And it's the dark side that people don't really want to talk about. And the reason people don't want to talk about it is because when it comes to actually selling the business model of remote sales, it's easier to talk about all the best things, right? It's easier to talk about the fact that you can be anywhere in the world. Like right now, I'm currently living in Tulum, Mexico, and it's all thanks to being remote, which I'm so grateful for. However, it's law of polarity, and law of polarity means you can't have the good without the bad. And whatever scenario, whatever route you go down in life, whatever business model you go down, or whatever route you go down in general in life, there's always going to be pros and cons. And I want to talk about the cons today. And my name's Callum Luke Webber, and I've actually been in the sales space for 9 years, but 6 years out of the 9 years, I was actually in person. I didn't even know what remote sales was. Remote sales wasn't really talked about. And now fast forward now today, after investing over £50,000 into mentors, interviewing a lot of millionaires on my podcast called The Freedom Lifestyle. In the last 11 months, I've built a 6-figure business with my business partner Jordan called Sales Growth Club, where we went from training sales reps to now we're leading sales teams. And I'm going to be diving into the bad side of remote high ticket sales today because it's not talked about enough. And I think if you are already in it or that you're considering going into it, I think it's good to understand both sides, the positives and the negatives, before you make a strong decision. I'd say number one would be the isolation. I think the isolation is something that isn't talked about loads, and it's the fact that when you do go remote, you might have a lot of friends that are in a 9 to 5 or that are in corporate, that have that structure on Monday to Friday. So as soon as you're the one that ends up going remote, whether that's a remote business or whether that's remote sales, you will end up having a lot of time without people, unless you're obviously inside, say, a community of other sales reps, but they might be all over the world. And obviously I think that's on the flip side, one thing that is amazing about remote sales is a lot of people that are in remote sales all network together and connect, and they end up, going to Thailand, going to Bali, going to places like South America together, because it can really be isolating. And I think the isolation, I believe, is probably one of the hardest things for people, because you go from maybe in an office environment, or even if we were to rewind when we were back at school, like every day we were spent a lot of time with people, whereas when you go remote, then you're going to end up having a lot of time where you may not be with people, right? So I guess that's point number one, is the isolation that does come with it. But obviously, like I shared already, the ways to go around this is to join communities. We've got a free community in the description called Sales Growth Club that you can come and join. And in regard to me and my business partner, we're always hiring. We're always looking to hire to grow our remote high ticket sales teams, because we represent some amazing offers in the space, in the property space, in the coaching space, in the solar space, in multiple different sectors. So if you are looking for a remote high ticket sales job and you want to join a community and a culture that we're building, because like I mentioned, isolation can be hard when it goes remote, and that's the reason why we wanted to create such an amazing culture in the remote sales space, because what we noticed is isolation is massive for a lot of people in remote sales. So we wanted to make a change for that. So step number one is obviously be in the right communities. There's so many amazing communities. You've got Capital Closer, you've got Club Closer, Yeston, he has Congruency. Like, there are so many different amazing mentorships that are running to enable you to have more community and meet like-minded people that are on that journey together. So that's point number one. Point number two is the fact that when it comes to remote sales, you don't realize this, but if you want to be really successful in remote sales, you need to stop acting and thinking like you're somebody in a normal sales role that's on a salary. Because if you have that mindset of the salary mindset, you will not last. Like, the majority of the opportunities in the space, all the offers that we represent, bar one, there was only one that actually had a base pay. All the other ones that we represent were commission. And a lot of the opportunities in the space are also commission. You can find some opportunities. We trained a guy called Blake at the start of 2025, and he ended up landing an offer that he had a base plus commission. I actually did a full breakdown interview of his journey going from in-person sales into remote sales. I'll put that in the description as well. I filmed on my YouTube. But actually finding finding many roles that has that salary or base plus commission is pretty rare. So therefore, if you haven't had that experience before of being on a commission, you need to start acting like you're an entrepreneur. You need to start acting like you're the one running the business, because the commission lifestyle isn't for everybody, especially if you've got a lot of financial pressure, if you've got a family, if you've got bills to pay, etc. The commission lifestyle can be very stressful in many times. However, on the flip side, I personally couldn't imagine ever going back to, I've never actually had a salary. I've been in sales for 9 years and it was always on a commission. So I've never known any different. And I think for me, it's been like my superpower, because it almost made me like fearless at a young age that, oh wow, actually, all I need to do is get better at a skill, put more reps in, get around the right people, and I can make more income. And that's the biggest benefit when it comes to being on a commission, is you go from someone that has a mindset of like, this is all I'm gonna get, paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, to, oh, actually now I'm on a commission, there's an abundance of opportunity. The more deals I close, the more opportunities that I create, the more income that I'm gonna generate. The more I work on my mindset, the more I invest into mentors, the more money I'm gonna make. When you're on a fixed salary and there's not much growth, number one, yes, it's comfortable and it's safe. Number two, there's not that growth and that progression of what I believe is the best thing about getting into remote sales or a remote business. So yes, when it comes to commission, it can create a lot of pressure. However, pressure makes diamonds. So I think as long as you've got money behind you and you've got around the right mentors, or you're already good at sales without mentorship, then remote sales is absolutely incredible. Point number 3 is the inconsistent lead quality. Now, let me tell you this. What I've noticed in the remote sales space are people are hopping from offer to offer to offer to offer, and they hop to these different offers, and then usually they end up hopping to another one, and it's this shiny object, this higher OTE that they've been recommended and they see. And yes, in some scenarios, in some cases, that actually does really pay off. Like, we actually lost one of our team members being fully open. He joined an AI offer, and that offer actually worked out incredible, and him leaving our team was actually a really good thing for him, which I'm so happy for. Shout out James Ostick. However, a lot of the time what I've seen is people jump from an offer to another offer because they think there's going to be better consistent leads. They think that the no-show rate's going to increase. They think they're going to make more money. And then literally about a month later, I see them I see them actually applying for offers with myself and Jordan at Sales Growth Club again. And I'm like, what happened to your last offer that you started a few weeks ago? And this is just the reality of the space in general, is being remote, obviously dependent on the company you're working for. The more established they are, the more they've got set up to increase show rates, etc. The more established they are in these type of things, more likely the show up rate's going to be higher. But let me tell you this, we represent an incredible company, but one of the biggest bottlenecks is a no-show rate, and they're a $25 million company and they still have challenges and bottlenecks. And I know for a fact that a lot of other big companies, that are doing hundreds of thousands of pounds a month, even companies like that also have really high no-show rates as well. And not only is it high no-show rates, but also the quality of leads aren't always going to be amazing. You may have a lot of people that aren't financially qualified. You may have a lot of people that have just responded to an ad and booked in for an appointment, but they weren't even serious. Like, this is just part of the game. And I think the mentality that you need to have is the opportunities are better than no opportunities, because it keeps you busy, it keeps you flowing, right? I always say to our Sales Growth Club team, if you get a no-show, use that as an opportunity to do your follow-ups. Use that as an opportunity to do some exercise, to go outside, get some fresh air, do a workout, I call them energy hacks throughout the day, because being back to back on calls all day can be mentally tiring, like staring at a screen all day. And that's another dark side that I wasn't even going to mention today of the remote sales. And me and my girlfriend Ellie always say this, is we spend so much time looking on our laptop screen or looking on our phone. And yes, we're in these amazing places when we travel the world, but sometimes, we can get sucked into being on our laptop all day, and when we look around and it's just like full of nature everywhere. So even when you see everybody traveling the world that are in remote sales or business, a lot of the time they are doing a lot more work than what you may realize, because on social media, unless you had like a film crew following you around, it's not like you're going to be posting content of your whole day every single day. Some people may do. However, a lot of people aren't. They show a lot of the best bits, but they don't actually see all the work that goes goes into it, all the late nights, your typical 9 to 5. Like if you get into remote sales, you might think you're going to work less, but I guarantee you, you're probably going to work more. And if you are in remote sales, let me know in the comments, like how many hours you're working on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm actually really curious, because when I went into remote business, I thought it was going to give me more time, which it does, and it gives you a lot more location freedom, and you can also maximize your time a lot more. However, one thing I did find was I was actually working more than when I was doing an in-person sales role. Not when I was doing high ticket sales in the solar company, because I was driving about 5-6 hours a day, but when I used to do sales in person, where I didn't need to do traveling and commuting, I was actually working less then than I am now. However, because I wasn't remote, I was tied to one location, and personally for me, I valued freedom too much. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world, and I want to be able to relocate if needs be. So for me, going remote is hands down one of the best things you can possibly do. Moving on to number 4. Now, number 4 is a big one, and this is something that I see a lot, and this is where a lot of founders and businesses are going wrong, and this is the reason why me and my business partner Jordan, we formed Sales Growth Club and formed our own remote high ticket sales team, because we wanted to take control, and we wanted to create a culture and atmosphere where we wasn't blaming the closers. We were taking accountability ourselves, okay? Because this is what I noticed a lot of founders doing. A lot of founders blame the closers and the appointment setters for not achieving their goals a lot of the time, and it's easy. It's so easy to blame other people, right? However, usually it's actually the founder's fault, because the founders may not be creating enough valuable content. The founders may not be investing enough into ads. The founders, may not be doing enough to nurture the leads before the calls. There are so many different factors that go into remote high ticket sales, because ultimately when it comes to the remote space, there's definitely an epidemic of trust, and trust is probably one of the most critical things that needs to get built in order for there to be success in a sales team, and that's down to the founders. Obviously the sales team need to build the trust as well, but ultimately the founders need to work on building as many assets as possible, as much value as possible, in order to create that trust. And as the trust increases, it's actually going to make the sales role for the appointment setter, closer or dialer, it's going to make it a lot easier for them to perform if the founder's also performing. But I see it a lot. A founder, they delegate to a sales team and then they just disappear, and they're not putting the work in that needs to be done in order to make it a consistent business that's going to be a long-term business. Because that's another thing in the remote sales space, is the longevity of businesses can sometimes be quite short. And that was the reason why me and Jordan were like, right, we want to get involved with the right clients on a long-term basis. So, if you are a coach or a mentor or a business and you're looking to scale your existing remote high ticket sales team, or you're looking to build one and you're looking for longevity with someone, then, give me a message on Instagram, message me like 777 on Instagram if you are curious about scaling your sales, and me and Jordan can do a bit of a deep dive consultancy with you to see how we can make that happen. But for us personally, we're always looking to work with the right people that have longevity, that are in it for the long run, because if we can work with people that are in it for the long run, then it's going to only benefit us, but it's going to benefit them. It's also going to benefit the clients, and it's also going to benefit the sales team, because the sales team, rather than jumping from offer to offer to offer, they can just find one offer that they resonate with, that they really like. They like the founders, they're interested in whatever they're selling. Let's say, for instance, it's a property offer. They're actually genuinely interested in property, rather than just doing it just to make money. If you can find people, let's say you're a sales rep watching this, try sell something that you actually believe in, that you actually enjoy, that you're passionate about. And if you're a founder and you're looking to recruit, then try and find people that are actually passionate about what you offer, or that have actually invested into your mentorship before. Let's say, for instance, you're an online PT as an example. Well, you're better off hiring someone that loves fitness, that gym changed their life. They may have invested in you before. They may have invested into an online PT before. So then it actually shows that they genuinely actually believe in it. And now this is a weird one, and this is the final point, and this is like the weird truth of remote sales, is remote sales can actually give you too much freedom. And what I mean by that is, point number 1 is where you have so much time now compared to previously, what happens is you actually realize that, wow, I've got so much time, what do I do with it? And this is where discipline comes in. This is when getting your routine right. This is where understanding what your habits are like, because I know for a fact, after training over 50 sales reps, and our sales team now, we're currently over 10 sales reps now at Sales Growth Club, I can tell you that one thing I've noticed for sure is a lot of people that get into remote sales, their habits are so so poor. They're spending way too much time doom scrolling on social media. They're procrastinating. They're not getting out the house enough. They're not moving. Like, there are so many different habits that people end up realizing that they have because they've now got so much more time. And I think that's probably one of the biggest dark sides, but it's a blessing of remote sales, is you actually have too much time. And when you have too much time, and Grant Cardone says, if you have white space on your calendar and you're bored, that's when you're going to meet the devil. And that's why it's so key to get crystal clear on how you want to optimize your time, because having that remote lifestyle gives you the freedom to travel more, gives you the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones. It gives you the freedom to sit more appointments in a day so you can make more money. Like, even though this video was all about the dark side, like, let me tell you this, like, the good side outweighs the dark side by a long shot. So if you're already in remote sales, let me know in the comments your opinions, your perspectives of the space. And if you are considering getting into remote sales, like, I hope this video has given you a bit of a different perspective to the space for you to understand. But most importantly, I hope this has given you the motivation and inspiration to really get into it. And if you want to personally connect with me, my Instagram, Callum Luke Webber, is actually in the description. And like I mentioned earlier, you can join our Sales Growth Club community for free on School. We're always posting different job offers when we're hiring for our own offers, and we also run trainings in there as well. So I'm excited to get connected with you on Instagram and excited to see you in our community. But I'm excited to share my knowledge, share my wisdom of being in sales for the last 9 years. So bless. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to do a training on, and I'll make it happen. Hasta luego.